Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Definition, summer's almost here, and it's about to get hotter than Charlotte Hale with the penultimate episode of Westworld Season 3 now out worldwide. Throughout this video we're going to be breaking down the latest entry and giving our thoughts on what's going to be happening in the finale. There will of course be heavy spoilers here, so if you haven't had a chance to check out episode 7 yet and don't want anything ruined, then I highly recommend that you turn off now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we do fan theories and breakdowns on it week by week, and you don't want to miss any of the updates. With that out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into our breakdown of Westworld Season 3 Episode 7.
You spent your whole life believing you were a follower. And lead.
Okay, so the episode Past Pawn of course refers to Caleb. It's one of the simplest titles thus far, and it very much refers to how in the episode he basically becomes a pawn that's passed from machine to machine. Initially he was under Rehobum's control, and then he came to be used by Dolores before being passed to Solomon. It's clear that though this episode gives him some agency, he doesn't have much power in the grand scheme of things and still remains a pawn. I think it could also be a play on the word past, as in the past, and it could be hinting that Caleb used to be a pawn in the army/Rico app, but it could also mean that he has finally broken free and that when all of this is done he will be moving of his own accord. Caleb has very much been this season's Dolores, as he was joined by a companion that was quote unquote free, much in the same way that she was with William, and together on their mission he's learned about his true nature and managed to escape from it. That's just how I took it, but we'll discuss it more in this video as we get into it. The episode opens with Rehobum in complete meltdown, and the world is very much sort of all over the place. I think that 50% of the planet is probably having a great time and enjoying the fact that they have a bright future ahead of them if Rehobum is right, and the others aren't looking forward to what could lie in store. This was very much reflected in last week's episode, in which we heard of some staff at Inner Journeys complaining that some of the team had left and they had to pick up the slack. The fact that these guys stayed probably means that they got lucky with their future, and we see that in Indonesia people are still enjoying the pubs and clubs like there's no lockdown. Here we see Musashi, who as we know is Dolores, and he sends a briefcase off to one of his friends. We don't know who this could be, but it does leave a lot of things up in the air. I did see people on Reddit saying they think that this may be the 5th Dolores pearl, but I'm sure that that was actually just Bernard. I think this may have been a special delivery that she received in episode 5, but I'm not 100%. There was also said to be another ally in Berlin, so we could have one last Dolores reveal in store. Anyway, Musashi gets a message from Dolores, who looks like she's been sat in the makeup chair at Boots for the last week. Great job. Now this could be a hologram, as we do see one appear in the preview for next week, and it would explain how she's no longer burnt. It does look like she has turned to Serac, who may have provided her with the ability to fix herself. He did want to take her in alive in the previous episode, and she was clearly angered by Dolores dooming them all and may have went rogue. She definitely didn't return to Arnold's house and fix herself, as Serac had that under control, but yeah, there's a lot of questions over how she's returned like this. Maybe she just used the healing pen on herself, but make sure you drop your theories below. Either way, she's given the location to Maeve, who has given it to her best buddy Clementine. There's an awesome shootout, and we get the return of another host, Hanayaro. She stabs Musashi and they take him for his pearl, which reflects how he was going to take Maeve's. So yeah, a lot to unpack from this opening, but I think overall we can take from it that Hale is now in league with Serac. After the credits we are treated to Caleb stating, "I'm Caleb Nichols," and it sounds very much like he's just running through a script. He gets flashes of Francis, whose wound he held similarly to Liam Dempsey Jr.'s. This is at the Re-Education Center, which becomes central to him discovering his past. We then see Caleb and Dolores trotting across some land in Mexico on horseback. This land was actually replicated in Westworld, and Caleb has clearly figured out that she's a host from the uprising. Dolores states that she wishes to use him as a leader for humanity, a messiah, but I don't think that she would give humanity that much control. Instead, we can look at it in a different way, and thank you to Daxel Kurtz on Reddit for providing this. So the user stated that Dolores wants to make a place for her people on Earth, which Rehobum currently runs. Therefore, it needs to be destroyed. As it is a human problem, it needs a human solution, so Dolores has created a narrative for a human, i.e. Caleb, in which he becomes the Messiah. However, that would make her just as bad as Ford and Serac, and she would have to deny that person free will, so instead she found someone who had already been given a loop, and she is simply making them aware of everything so that they will create an uprising of their own accord. She pretty much influences him throughout this conversation, and he goes from just being a construction worker to getting the idea planted in his mind that he's something more. We get more flashbacks, including his mission in Chimera, in which he was hunting down insurgents. These flashbacks are laced with a female doctor guiding him, and she tells him to start at the beginning. This is a callback to season 1, in which Dolores was too told this when she had problems with her memories. I love this scene, and also like the high-tech surveillance that's centered around just donning glasses in order to confirm a target, and then watching a satellite strike take them down. Caleb and co were then tracked by insurgents themselves and heavily damaged during the attack. They were honorably discharged after this, and it was wiped from their memories and then melded into a brand new branching storyline that would hide their true mission, which we'll get into in just a bit. According to their storyline, Caleb and Francis ended up capturing the insurgent leader themselves, which led to the man in the chair that we've seen laced throughout his memories. However, this was all a ruse and a plan carried out in the re-education center to hide the truth. It turns out that, in the end, Serac's plan was to use outliers to take out outliers, and with the Rico app they were able to regulate crime. It's revealed that Francis and Caleb were hired by the app to take out a man named Whitman. He was part of the pharmaceutical company that created the limbic tablets, and after asking one too many questions, he was identified as an outlier. After capturing him, Caleb ended up listening to what he had to say, and when he told them too much, they were given alerts to kill one another in exchange for a reward. Francis likely knew of this before Caleb, but he didn't wish to do it, and Whitman divulged to Caleb what normally happened in such circumstances, which gave him a heads up on the preceding predicament. Caleb ended up killing Francis before he could kill him, and this is why Dempsey Jr. said, "You did it." In the present, Dolores and Caleb arrive at a re-education center in the middle of the desert, and using an incredibly high-tech sniper rifle and drone combination, she takes out all the guards there. This is one of the things that was in the bag that they got a special delivery for, but there are other elements to it, and the pieces of it could be used to rebuild Dolores in the next episode. Inside, Caleb takes a very similar stroll through it to what Liam Dempsey Sr. did when meeting with Serac, and he begins to piece together what happened to him. He was one of the first to receive treatment, and though it was effective, journeying with Dolores has opened his eyes to what's going on. Their main objective is to find Solomon, the prior version of Rehobum, and it's not too long before they come across it. It actually has the voice of John Mee by default, and it's classified as being schizophrenic, which of course is very similar to Caleb's mother. It doesn't seem like the Caleb is Serac's brother theory is true, but yeah, I did quite like these parallels. Solomon actually has difficulty deciphering whether it's the present or whether this is a simulation or not, and it's nice that machines similar to humans do tackle with their reality and having self-awareness. Maybe William should hang out with it. Anyway, inside the facility, they come across a message for Jean Mee left by Serac. Looking at it in the mind state that Serac is no longer alive, it does make a lot of sense. His hair is grey, and yet we have seen in the flashbacks that it was brown, and it's only in the more recent times that it turned this shade, so it is possible that this was recorded a while back, and at some point Rehobum ended up taking his form, and then using it through a hologram, he convinced the world he was still alive. The line, "I wish I could be there with you, Jean Mee, but the man I was no longer exists," seems to tease at this, and it does look like the Serac is a hologram theory could be coming true. Hey, I have to hold on to something after a couple of my theories turned out to be untrue, right? And by a couple, I mean every single one of them. Hashtag Bernard is still the key. I have to believe they discover all the outliers that were taken out of the system, including Jean Mee. The projections that Serac ran did not fit the data, and thus the data had to change, which is why so many were removed. There are parallels here of the hosts that were kept in storage in the park, and it's here that the big reveal about Caleb comes to the surface. Maeve arrives shortly after, and Dolores makes Solomon create a new strategy that will allow Caleb to create a revolution with humanity. I love how Solomon says, "If you die, I will adjust my projections," and the two go head to head in one of the best action scenes in the season so far. Maeve has become a traitor to her kind in a way, and it's nice that she's been forced to flip roles. Serac ended up killing a man earlier in the season that gave Dolores information, and he called him a traitor to his kind, so this mirroring here is a good callback that shows their opposing ideologies. Dolores gets her arm blown off, and it's a real tense moment as she flees from Maeve, who goes after her with a samurai sword. Using the EMP that was placed as a countermeasure for Solomon, Dolores deactivates both herself and Maeve, leading to their fates being up in the air. Solomon also tried to give Caleb a warning, but this was unable to be delivered. Now of course they aren't dead, and even though they were taken out by EMPs, their pearls are intact, it's just their systems that are disabled. So they will be able to come back, because, well, no points for guessing that they're needed for the finale. The other storyline that is laced throughout the episode centers around Bernard, Stubbs and William. William's awakening from last week gave him a purpose, and we learn this episode it's to basically destroy the hosts. Nice one, glad we learned something. This is to right the wrong of his original sin, and therefore undo the one thing that led to all of this misery. It turns out that Hale also injected William with a virus that hacked their AI system and provided the tracking data that allowed Bernard and Stubbs to find him. It's also wiped William from the system and declared him as dead. This could also be a byproduct of the re-education centre, and perhaps Serac declares those that enter it dead so that it can provide them with a new identity. In order to stop William taking back Delos, he probably also needs him off the board, so this all ties together neatly into his plan. Serac has been trying to reprogram people, and William sold him the data. In destroying hosts, this will right his wrongs, and I love how he threatens Bernard and Stubbs with death should they not kill him first. Also, an interesting detail that Insider.com pointed out was that William and Caleb actually have the same ID number. How this will play out we don't quite know yet, but they are linked in some way. Perhaps Hale changed his ID number to William's to flag him up on the system so that Caleb and Dolores could move undetected, but we don't have a solid answer yet. I have no idea why these are the same, but it does seem interesting that they could be linked, and they have had the old switcheroo done at the re-education centre in order to cover one and to expose the other. We know that William is a crucial part to gaining access to the board at Delos, so maybe it was given to Caleb so that he could bypass it. Again, I don't know what's happening, please let me know in the comments below. They go to a gas station with a sign that says "From Lab to Slab," which is a callback to Bernard's job recreating meat. William manages to get a shotgun and he holds the gun to the pair, leaving their fate also up in the air. Caleb finds Dolores' body and he's then told that he has some instructions by an AI voice, once more showing that this past pawn has been given another master. As for the finale, riots are spilling over into the street, and we are told that this is indeed the prediction that Rehobum made that prophesies the end of the world. Dolores is rebuilt, and Hale returns as a hologram, likely under the control of Serac. Maeve is going back against Dolores, and it seems like Caleb is plugged into Rehobum himself, perhaps to pass over the doomsday strategy that he was given so that it can enact countermeasures. Either way, I'm so hyped for the finale, but I'm gutted that it's almost over. This episode wasn't too laced with Easter eggs, but it's been an incredible ride, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode and what you're expecting in the finale. Comment below and let us know, and if you enjoyed this video then please drop a thumbs up and make sure you check out our breakdown of the series so far. We've gone through each episode week by week and also discussed some of the craziest theories that you might have heard on the show. If you want to support the channel from as little as 99 cents a month, then please click the join button below. We massively appreciate it, and as a thank you, you get access to content early. If you want to come chat to us after the show, either follow us at DefinitionYT or click the Discord link in the description below. Every month we give away free movies to people who are subscribed to the channel, and this month you can win the Marvel Phase 3 Part 1 box set, and all you have to do is comment on a video and make sure you sub with notifications on. The more videos you comment on, the more you have a chance of winning, so make sure you get involved. The winner is going to be chosen at random on the 15th of May, so best of luck to everyone who takes part. This is a channel for people who are never missing television, so if that's the kind of thing you like, you need to subscribe to Definition. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this, you've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.